Alright, well this is Madison with Madman Get Repair and Gale Guitar Company, and I figured I might start a little tutorial about some of the things I'm planning to do here. A lot of big ideas going on around the roasted bodies and the roasted necks right now. So I kind of thought I'd give that a little experiment. I've got a little cut of basswood right here that originally I was going to do like a bigger Les Paul style body on, like an alley cat style body. Kind of decided against it. I think I'm going to do more of a Strat, and more in the vein of the Guthrie Govan. Kind of do an inexpensive Guthrie Govan style, but his had a roasted basswood body on it, and this is a pretty cut here. It's got some nice figure on it. I don't know if you can see it, but some little flame or burl or bear claw or whatever you want to call it. My plan is to roast the body, cut out the Strat shape, get the forearm route done, and then cut, do a flame maple veneer on top, similar to what he does. I mean, his is a little thicker. It's more like a 1/4 inch or something like that. But this is going to be like a nice little experiment to see an inexpensive way to do a guitar like that, with the Godot bridge that he used to use, not the Floyd that he has now. Or it might even just do a stop tail. I don't know yet, but yeah, I'm going to throw it in the oven at 350 for a couple hours and see what happens. And if I lose the piece of wood, it'd be a shame, but not a big deal. I've got other cuts of wood. So stay tuned. Alright, so here she is. I put her in the oven at 350 for 3 hours. Really didn't do what I thought it was going to do, but it didn't mess up the wood either. There's no major cracks or anything. It's a nice dry chunk of wood. It's lighter, and there's a little bit of a golden hue onto it. Nothing super extravagant or anything like that, but it was worth a shot. It's still going to be a good body. My next plan is to finish routing. I did a rough cut last night because I was kind of impatient, and so yeah, it's gonna finish it out. I'm gonna do the forearm contour, and then I'm going to glue the veneer on. Well, I went ahead and routed out the body from that piece from the basswood. It's got really nice flame on the back. The hue darkened a little bit, like I said before. Went ahead and sanded the top at 150 grit. I wanted to keep it a little bit rough just to have something for the glue to catch onto, and I went ahead and did the forearm route as well. So, I mean, if you wanted to see a routing video, there's about 5,000 other videos on YouTube that shows you how to do a Strat route. So yeah, I'm about to put the veneer on. Alright, so here's my flame maple veneer. I already book matched it and taped it and cut the profile out, leaving anywhere from 1/4 inch to 3/8 on the sides, especially on this side so I can account for that curb right there. This was a relatively inexpensive piece of veneer. It's got a nice flame on it, but it's not like super ostentatious or anything like that, which, I'm not like a huge make it pop guy, but the whole point of this, bear in mind, is that we're trying to make an inexpensive alternative to the Guthrie Govan. So, so as long as we follow the maple, the basswood, we're gonna have something nice. Alright, next is to put the glue. Now, what I'm going to be using is whatever a lot of people use, which is just a standard Type Bond 2. They make a veneer one, a cold press veneer. Nobody in my town sells it. I didn't want to wait 5 days for it to get here, because Amazon didn't have it on Prime either. So I'm going to do this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it on really thin, and I'm going to let it set for a few minutes to kind of let it dry just a scunch. And then I'm going to put it in the vacuum press. One thing about these brushes from Harbor Freight, you can get like actual glue application brushes, but you know, as some of the other people in line have said, you can just go and get this pack of brushes from Harbor Freight, which are a fraction of the price, and you get a ton of them. The only problem is that when the glue gets a little stickier, you start losing bristles, so you have to go back and compensate for that and pick off all the little bristles that are left behind. Now, I could probably just leave it and just work it into the glue, but why? Now, that covers a good chunk of the entire body. And then what happens with the vacuum press should just push everything out, squeeze everything else around it. Let's get these bristles. One more. Alright. You have a little bit of play as far as how much time you have. I could probably just watch it and tape it down, but I'm really interested to see what the vacuum bag will do. Keep in mind this whole thing is an experiment. I am using the $4.99 bags from Harbor Freight because it keeps with the whole idea of doing this as inexpensive as possible. I wouldn't use these bags for luggage or anything because they're pieces of crap, but for a once off on this, and we can just throw it away right after, I think it'll be alright. I'm just going to take a little block of wood and just try to push out all the areas that look like they were a problem last time. Now keep in mind, I'm not worried about the neck pocket. It's going to be gone. If there's a little bit of seam separation or overlap right here, that's okay because that's where the pickups are going to go. But all this down here, I need it to be nice and good. One thing I just wanted, when I originally vacuumed this down, I felt like maybe the plastic on this might push in on the veneer itself. So I reopened it back up and checked. It didn't leave any marks, but just to make sure, I threw an extra piece of veneer in there just in case. There's no bleed through or anything for the glue. I mean, it's looking really good. So I just threw that on top just in case there'd be any marks on the veneer. It would hit that and not the veneer on the guitar. So just wanted to let you know that. Alright, well, I had this thing clamping since 9 this morning. It's now 3 p.m. When I was feeling around on it, I thought I felt a little bump around here, like the seam had like buckled on each other or something like that, but it's about as tight as it can get, and it looks amazing. So I'm going to throw this on a trim router and then just kind of clean up the space there. and then you know, we can get the routing to pick up cavities and what I want to do for the bridge. So, but yeah, I mean, this seam right here, there's a little gap right there that's barely noticeable, and then of course up here in the neck pocket, but who cares, because that's going to get gone anyway. So I am super stoked with how this came out. This is going to be a pretty kick-ass guitar, I feel. So I've put on the trim router, got everything flush cut. I got to do a little bit of sanding around the forearm cut, but the seam is pretty nice. There's a little bit of a raise that I'm going to have to just inject a little bit of glue right there and tape it down, but it's not terrible. Looks really good. I'm really stoked. I had one little dig out right there when I was routing the body. I'll fill that in. But yeah, gonna go ahead and next video will be the routing. But you know, for my first time doing this, I'm super stoked. It came out really well.